Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. As promised, we have a special guest, a returning guest, and a wonderful investor. Casey from Brick by Brick Wealth is her Instagram page. How you doing, Casey?
I'm doing good, Mike. Thank you so much. It's good to be back.
Absolutely. So let's remind folks where you invest, what you do kind of in this world. What is Brick by Brick Wealth? And then we will get into the market discussion.
Sure. So I like to say I'm a part-time real estate investor because I invest in rental properties. So I'm not constantly doing the daily hustle. So it's amazing. I love the passive income.
Yep.
And we currently live in Memphis. We're from SoCal and we invest in Memphis because why not? We're in Memphis.
There you go.
And so with my Brick by Brick Wealth page and my website and all of that, I help new real estate investors or aspiring investors. I hold their hand through their first rental property so that they minimize their mistakes because, a lot of people, this is, down payment is a majority of their savings.
For sure.
And I want to make sure people are spending it wisely and, not losing their butts.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, buying a home is often the most expensive thing people will do. And then to think about it being an investment property, it's definitely something that a lot of people want a little bit of hand holding and coaching through that first or second one for sure. Yeah. So what I thought I would do here, Casey, is since you're in Memphis, what little I know of Memphis, which is like nothing, it strikes me as a market that's full of out-of-state investors. Obviously, you do it locally, but is that true? Is Memphis full of out-of-state investors?
It is. Memphis has constantly over the years been ranked as one of the #1 places to invest in rental properties. It's one of the most affordable cities in the Mid-South area. And because of that reason, prices have stayed low and rents still are pretty comparable to across the country. As far as, middle America, I would not say comparable to California. But, because of that reason, the rent to price ratio is so great. Just until really last year, you were still really being able to find, meet the 1% rule and more out here. And it's becoming less and less. You can't really get the 1% rule out here anymore, but it's still cash flows. So there's a lot of out-of-state investors coming here.
And it's not slowing down, I would guess, with rates being historically low. Generally speaking, the stock market, okay, economy is pretty good. Bigger pockets, YouTube University talking. Lots of people are talking about Memphis and Tennessee, and I have to assume it's not slowing down. If anything, it might even be picking up. Is that?
No, it's getting worse. And the fact that it's getting better, it's more popular just because of, the economic climate and,
Yep.
It's a red state. So it's, on those people are moving here, people that are wanting to live in a red state, besides the fact of rentals are just coming here to live primarily.
Right.
To Tennessee, Nashville and Chattanooga and even, Memphis, Middle Tennessee are really seeing big increases in people moving here. It's landlord friendly, it's business friendly, there's no income tax. So there's like a lot of pluses for people to live here. So the fact that it also is a great investment area has not made anything slow down.
Yeah. It's probably not going to slow down for quite a while. I think it's one of those states that has a perfect combination of location, tax treatment, red state, landlord friendly. It's like, hey,
And honestly, the weather is really good. I mean, I'm from Southern California, so I'm used to sunny skies. I'm used to 80-degree Christmases. I will say I kind of do miss that, but it doesn't really snow here at all. And if you look on the map, Southern California is straight horizontally across to Memphis. So
really,
so the climate, besides the fact that it can be humid,
okay.
The winters are really mild. The summers aren't really that bad. They're not like Florida. It's not like Houston where it's really, really muggy and buggy. I mean, it's buggy, but it's not completely humid. So the weather is pretty favorable. It doesn't snow a lot, doesn't get super hot. You get spring, summer, fall, winter, you get all the seasons. So it's a really good mix. It's not like you live up north and now it's snowing for 5 months out of the year. So people like living here.
Yeah, no, I think it's got a lot going for it. And as I recall some of our past conversations, you had a pretty tight buy box, zip codes, property type. Remind folks what that is, and then we'll talk about what's going on the last year or so.
Sure. So, most investors have a specific type of property that they look for, or one or two sort of types. So they just not all, oh, I'll buy anything, because that's way too broad. And no.
Yeah.
So what I like to buy are easy houses, easy to maintain. I like single story, prefer brick homes, no siding, although I do have a siding house, just because that requires maintenance and repair over the years. And bricks are, and I don't really like painted brick either, although I do have a painted brick house. I like a regular brick house, under 1,400 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1 to 2 bathrooms, single story, no fireplace, no pool, level lot, no big trees hanging over the property, prefer garage, but you don't always get that out here in this price point. But yeah, I'm looking for something real specific.
And that's the beauty of having what I call a buy box, or a really specific criteria is A, you can look for it. B, you can tell everybody what you're looking for. And knowing you have an amazing network that's always growing. Over the last couple of years, what percentage of the stuff you looked at was on the MLS versus maybe a pocket listing or off market? I mean, just talk about the importance of having a network and telling everybody what you're looking for.
So I'll be honest that everything we bought has been on the MLS.
Oh, good.
And yeah, and that's because my husband and I, we rehab all of our own houses. And the ones that are not on the MLS, they're complete dumps, because otherwise, if they would go conventional, if they would qualify for a conventional loan, those sellers would put it on the MLS to get top dollar for their property. The only people that are not listing their houses are houses that wouldn't qualify for a loan, and you need to fix it up to put a sign in the yard. And those people, houses in that condition, they don't have the money to do that. They're embarrassed of their house, and they just want to kind of sell it quietly without anyone knowing that they're selling their houses. Then the neighbors will want to snoop and look, and then they're going to feel embarrassed. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah.
A lot of those houses that are off market are not very good. Now, pocket listings, when last summer, you probably remember, I was looking for a lake house to Airbnb, and I thought for sure that there would be, we looked all year. I would look 3 times a day on realtor.com. I'd have push notifications to my phone. My agent saw tons of houses. We made offers. We were in contract on a couple, didn't work out. But nobody was selling their freaking lake homes. Nobody. So there was hardly any coming on the market. So we kind of gave up on that. But I totally forgotten what I was talking about.
Pocket listings.
Oh yeah, pocket listings. But that agent over there had pocket listings, and one of the houses that we were in contract with was an off-market property that he knew. He was a top agent in the area. And so people would tell him before they're on the market, hey, I'm going to be selling my house, or my friend's going to be selling their house. And he would kind of know about it first. So we were in contract on a house that was a pocket listing, and he did not have it on the MLS, and we were entered into contract. And that's a plus because there's no competition. And for some people, they're not always looking, it's so odd, they're not always looking to make the most money on the house. Sometimes if it's like a old person died and they've got several sisters and brothers that own the house, they don't want to go through all that. They just want to sell it, move on, And that was kind of situation with this house. Person died. Now the sisters and brothers had ownership of this house, and they, one of them knew a real estate agent, told them about it, and they're like, hey, and the agent was like, hey, look, I can get this house sold for you tomorrow for this price. You want to do that? Or do you want to go through the listing process and taking photos, and I'm going to have to do open houses, and you're going to get multiple offers and all this, it's going to be kind of dragged. And they're like, you know what? Just sell it to that person tomorrow for this amount of money.
There you go.
And let's move on.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of value in knowing your buy box and sharing with folks what you're looking for, whether it's a lake house to Airbnb or a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, brick home, because you just never know. I think we're heading into a changing market, which we'll get into your predictions in a follow-on episode. But I think, one of the mistakes I made was I solely relied on realtor.com the first 4 or 5 years I was doing this, right? I created excuses. Oh, I'm traveling. I'm in a foreign country, blah, 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 blah. Today with apps, certainly, FaceTime and all these other things, I think most new investors, once they have a buy box, they need to practice telling people what they're looking for, go to meetups, things of that nature. Are you going to meetups still even today? Are you doing those things to meet more and more people? Yeah,
so we have a really big investor group. It's called Memphis Investor Group, or MEG. and they have monthly meetings, and there's also subgroups.
Mm.
There's like a flipping group. There's a, as they call, old people's money instead of, other people's money. They call it the old people's money group. And it's funny. And then they have, young flippers, and then they have bird groups. They have all these subgroups you can attend outside of the regular meetings. But I tend to go to the monthly meetings because that's where everybody's at. And they're long, they're amazing. Matter of fact, speaking of buy box, just crossed my mind. There's a girl in that group, and she, I really like her a lot. She's a flipper, and she only gets her properties from word of mouth, because she tells every single person that she knows that she buys houses, and she has the buy box. I buy houses in this zip code.
Yep.
And they have to, and it's a zip code that I like. So I talk to her a lot. Now 3 houses in the zip code. So, she's like, I buy houses in this square footage in this zip code, and they want them to be like this. And she tells every single person, and she's constantly got 2 flips going on at all times.
That's amazing.
And it's only from word of mouth, and she's so proud about it. But she's never bought anything on MLS. They're all off market by word of mouth. So-and-so selling a house, I heard you, I know that you buy houses. Would you, So it's like, all right, I got to do more word of mouth. It's so much easier.
Yeah.
And they're not all, terrible houses either.
No. Yeah. It's, if you're going to be in the real estate game for a while and you want to get one a year, one every other year, realize there's lots of ways that you should be doing it, right? Obviously, MLS, push notifications, buy box, easy peasy, get that stuff done right away. Networking, going to meetups. There was a meetup that changed my life, right? We went to a meetup, I think it was 05, 06, where we saw Bruce Norris, a California investor, speak, who saved us, right? The housing market was nuts. We 1031 out of all our houses to apartments because of that one meeting.
Wow.
So, I mean, you just never know, right, where you could pick up something. And just frankly, going to meetups just to get energized, right? Whether it's the speaker or just the people networking, you got to get around the people that are really doing this. Because if you just live in your little world or your little bubble, you can really, this headspace can really get you down sometimes, because it's hard, it's slow, it's time consuming. Tenants don't pay, tree limbs break. There's lots of stuff that can happen if you don't have that positive energy monthly to kind of recharge. You could really get stuck, I think.
I agree. And not only, would you go to meetups to just find deals? I mean, it's the other network of people that you found, like contractors and property managers, and like the yard guys that go, and the concrete guys that show up. It's like when you can meet people face to face and they see that you're a real person, that you're not an idiot, there's a lot of, kind of just like loopy, people out there that you don't really want to do business with. But when you can see, like in real life, when the contractors and subs can see you in real life and be like, wow, this person's a real person and they have deals going on, and they are not an idiot, you can much more easily get them to come out to quote your jobs and actually get a quote from them. Because I can't tell you how hard it is, especially right now, to get contractors to show up, first of all, just to give you the quote, and then to come back and give you the bid. They'll come look at the job and you'll never hear from them again. And it's like, where's my quote? You're all but begging, texting, emailing, calling. Yeah, hey, thanks for coming by. Do you have my quote? You have my estimate? And it's like, well, they just don't want to do the job. But when you can network at these meetings and meet the people that are looking for work, that are looking to work with investors, then they're going to show up for you. And that's how I found a guy that flips, my friend's houses. And we have a house that needs some work. We need some work on our house. Normally we do all the things ourselves, but some of the big stuff, like installing 16-foot posts in ground, it's like, well, how am I going to help Blake with that? Like, I'm going to get a big ladder to hold up a 6 foot by 6 foot, a 6 inch by 6 inch by 16-foot post. I mean, I don't think I want to really do that. Sounds like, I'm not a giant or 4 men.
Yeah.
So, having people that will actually come out, give you the quote and do the job and give you a good price and be friendly is something that you can really get from going to these meetings and meeting people face to face instead of just calling them on the phone and they don't know who you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're going to talk about in episode number 2, a deal you just closed. But before we do that, how can people find you? Where do you want them to go?
Sure. So I'm mostly on Instagram daily. It's Brick by Brick Wealth. So you can definitely find me there. I got to get my YouTube started back up, but you can also find me on my website if you want to message me or check out what I have going on. It's brickbybrickwealth.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Casey.